Hello everyone! In this video we're going to talk about the future of Star Wars, like what kind of stories we might expect from a galaxy far, far away, and I'm going to share with you what I would like to see from Star Wars in the future. So let's go! After Andor, there is a lot of speculation about what is next for Star Wars, when it's going to happen with the franchise. Of course, there are some movies announced, like we have the Mandalorian movie coming next year, we have Ahsoka coming, and we have a few other movies coming. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about like the bigger picture, like what direction is this franchise going. So I think there are like 5 major directions from now on for Star Wars, and I'm gonna list them all and tell you how likely I think is for each of those to happen, and then at the end I'll tell you how I would fix Star Wars, like what I would do if I was Disney, but of course I'm not. So option number 1 is to keep Star Wars as it is right now. I mean, they can make more standalones, they can make more TV series, and they can bring in different creators. Each creator can bring something different. This is the most likely current direction. It's like, the universe of Star Wars is expanding, but the more it expands, it loses its core, it loses its strong identity, and I feel like it's a bit sinking. When you have too many stories, too many characters, it's kind of the fandom also becomes divided because different people like different things, and it just loses the special flavor. It can still be successful, it can still be sustainable in a way, but I feel like it's slowly sinking. When it doesn't have the core characters and the core story, it diminishes its value and its meaning over time. So it's like, it's diminishing returns right now, Star Wars. Also, I feel like the more you expand it, the more complex it becomes. It's more difficult to attract people, in the sense that if I'm a new fan and there is this huge universe, I don't know where to start. Like, I wouldn't know what to watch. The more content you have, the entry point is more difficult. For example, I watched One Piece, the live action, but the fact that I have to go and watch the animated series and it's millions of episodes, I'm like, oh no, I will stick to my live action. And I feel like that could happen to Star Wars. Like, some people might watch 1 or 2 movies, but they can feel overwhelmed by the amount of content that exists outside of it. So sometimes less is more, like if you have a few strong movies, a few strong characters to carry the brand, could be better than having thousands, but that's a different discussion. Yeah, but that's one of the future roads of Star Wars. The current one, Star Wars continues to exist as a setting of different stories. The probability of this continuing is like 80% because that's their current path. Now, second option for the future of Star Wars is total reboot. Like, just remake it like they're doing with the Harry Potter, right? And I feel like if the Harry Potter TV series is successful, they might actually do it. They can just reboot everything from episode 1 on and make it a TV series. So the entire Star Wars story from the beginning, new cast for the new generation with everything new. But I think it's just too soon for that. Like, they might do it in another 10-20 years when the original fans grow a bit older and there's new generation that they have to attract, and if they have no new ideas by then, no new characters that can carry forward the story, they've just rebooted. Because the story is a very classical adventure story that I think has a very broad appeal. If they reboot it, they should choose like the TV series method, because then you can tell the story with more detail in a different way. Who knows in 10 and 20 years how entertainment will look like. We don't know. They can reboot it as animation, but like a very high quality animation, so we'll see. I think the probability of that happening right now, it's pretty low, like 30%, but it might happen in the future. I think in the future they might reboot everything. Now, option number 3 right now, what they can do is go backward, tell some stories from the Old Republic. And I think they're experimenting with that. Like, the Acolyte was kind of step in that direction, but that didn't go very well. But now they're making a new movie about the origins of the Jedi, and some of the creators of Andor are attached to that project. So it sounds promising. It sounds good, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Because going backwards can give them the opportunity to bring new characters, new stories. And I feel like if that movie goes well, they're probably going to do more. Maybe 3 movies again with a good arc and very memorable characters. Now, they can do that also in the future. So that's the fourth option. The fourth option is for them to create a trilogy way into the future. Maybe even after Rey is gone and all these Jedi are legends, and then you have completely new galaxy, let's say. I think that's also gives them the opportunity to refresh the look of Star Wars, because some of the technology kind of looks outdated a bit. If they jump ahead into the future, they can have more creative freedom to make something new, to update the technology, to update the spaceships and everything. But of course, it's such a big change could push some fans away, but I feel like they just need something new. I mean, how long are they going to do the same thing as over and over and over again? The thing about the new content is just it has to be a good content. If you go into the past or into the future or wherever you go, you have to make sure you tell a good story, and that's not so easy to be done as it sounds. Like, it takes time. And that's, I think, the main issue, that Disney never wants to give these projects enough time. And time is essential. Time is everything, because ideas are cheap. You know, you can have a good idea. I think the Acolyte sounded like a good idea, but the execution was not so well done. Usually, most often is because they don't have enough time to refine those ideas, to refine the script. I hope that the future of Star Wars will be with well-thought projects that have enough time to grow into something good. But yeah, let's move on. So number 5 option, I think, is to go into legends. Like, they can make some what-if alternative and go and film maybe the Tron trilogy or something else. To be honest, I don't mind if they recast Luke, Leia, and Han at this point. Again, to be honest, I don't care if they go in the future, in the past, in the legends, in wherever they go. I just want them to invest more, not money, but to invest more care. I feel like the people who work on Star Wars, they don't want to make a bad movie, or, you know, I don't think anyone just goes to work like, what shall I do today to anger the fans? What shall I do to piss everyone? Maybe there are people like that, but I feel like most people who are in the creative industry are in the creative industry because they want to create something, you know, but then the producers and those people who are not the creative ones, but the business guys, they sometimes can interfere in a negative way. I mean, sometimes they can interfere in a good way. Like, I mean, every creator needs somebody to help him get the ideas out in the best way. Sometimes those business guys, those business people can think in numbers too much. They can just push creators to produce results quicker because, people want more content. But I think it was proven in the last few years that the quality is important, because nowadays we have quantity over quality, but quality is important. And I think that's what made Andor stand out. It's the quality of the show. It's not the best show in the world. Like, some people are a bit exaggerating, but it's a good show. It's a really good show, and it has good acting and good script and good dialogue. I think shows like Ahsoka could have been better with a bit more polishment. You know, like, maybe I will go on tangent here a bit, but for example, Ahsoka TV series had some good parts and some not so good parts, and that kind of frustrates me recently, not just about Star Wars, but about like books and movies. I kind of feel that they haven't been edited enough, they haven't been polished enough. I see something that is 80% done and it has great potential and it's great spark in it and great ideas, but it misses the final 20%, the final 30%. And I'm like, okay, but I mean, you have so much money, so much resources. Why rush so much? Like, I think people can wait. Like, yeah, you can say, our attention span is very short. People just want more content and blah, blah. Okay, maybe this is another topic, but I feel like if Star Wars wants to have a future, they need to find someone who has a strong idea, who has a good story, and invest in that story and give that person enough creative freedom. Now, that's another problem. Maybe I'll make another video about movie adaptations and about the good and the bad of those long franchises. I mean, they can be a good opportunity for new voices, for new creators to tell something new, but they also constrain those creators, you know? Like, for example, if you tell me tomorrow, oh, do you want to write a Star Wars story? I'll be like, yeah, I love Star Wars, blah, blah. But then I'll be like, oh, but I cannot do that, I cannot do this. Blah. But for example, Tony Gilroy, he said that he liked that he had some constraints. He liked the fact that he had some rules to follow, and that gave him a good base to build the story. So you need that kind of creator who can be creative and adapt himself within the context of your brand, but still bring his own voice and still bring his own thing. And it's just very difficult thing. Now, to wrap up this too long video, I'll tell you what I would do if I was Disney, right? Oh, I forgot the other option. The other option is just to reboot the sequels. Of course, the other option for Disney is to reboot the sequels, because I feel like the sequels got them into a dead end. What next for Rey? You know, when you had Luke, Leia, and Han at the end of the Return of the Jedi, you had this team of people and you wanted to know more about them. But you can agree that the sequel trilogy, it's very divisive, and it ended with most of the characters gone, and there is Rey, but well, I don't think Rey on her own is all that strong of a character. Doesn't have so much fans around her. Like Luke, Leia, and Han, they were a very strong character team, and anyone would want to watch those three characters and their adventures. But I feel like Rey misses her team. Like, I think that was one of the weaker points of the sequels. Poe and Finn and Rey, they never kind of formed this great dynamic that the original trio had. And the prequels had Obi-Wan and Anakin dynamic. And I think the most interesting things about these movies are the character dynamics. And here Rey is alone and she has no character dynamic with anyone because Kylo Ren is dead. And you can argue about it, but I think Kylo Ren and Rey dynamic was the only interesting thing about the sequels. I mean, maybe I will discuss the sequels in another video, but I think the sequels have been discussed so much. It had some good ideas, it had some good moments, it had some not so good moments, but they're a bit of a dead end, and they are not as successful as maybe Disney wished them to be. I don't know if there is a legacy of fans who want to see more of Rey. I don't see it, I don't feel it, but maybe they're there. And of course they can make a Rey movie and kind of reestablish her character in a new way. But yeah, I think actually this connects to the other option, which is to go and redo Legends. They can make it like an alternative universe Star Wars, or they can just reboot the sequel trilogy. I don't think they will do it. But my point is that if I had Star Wars and I had the sequel trilogy, which is kind of like a hard thing to manage. For example, I don't want to say, oh, it was a failure, I will delete it. No, I want to save face. So if I want to save face and still continue the story and kind of renew the story for future generations and give Star Wars a new identity, I don't know, I would make a trilogy in the future, because I think it really needs some fresh technology and just fresh look. I don't know, the past, like the Old Republic, it has more fans, it has more canon there, like already set. It's there's more constraints there. But in the future, people will be more willing, I think, to see new stuff, you know? So it's safer bet to go to the future. So I would go further and make a trilogy. Of course, find a good team of creators. I will make a trilogy with Rey as the old wise master. I know Daisy is still young and she can play Rey, but if you have a core new trilogy which is strong, then you can go back and tell like 5 different standalones about Rey, you know, but they don't mean anything if it doesn't have the core energy. Right now, all those standalones like the Obi-Wan TV series, Ahsoka TV series, all this gravitates around the big myth of the tragedy of Darth Vader. You know, they all gravitate around that. So you need new center of gravitate to gravitate around for your new stories. That's what I wanted to say, man. You need a new core, and then you can gravitate all your other content around it. But I feel like the old core, like the old Star Wars story, it's already been milked so much that it's getting repetitive. I mean, Andor was great, but how many Andors can you do? Like, yeah, you can do another series about Clea. I would love that. Please do it. You can do that. But it's still diminishing returns. You need new strong core Star Wars story. I'll give you my suggestion. It's a bit stupid, something I've been thinking about for 10 minutes, so it's not a developed idea. But yeah, go into the future, make Rey this old Jedi Master, but it's gonna be new, you know, the Jedi Master is a woman and she is like super wise and blah blah, and then have a Skywalker appear. Because you need the Skywalkers. You know, if you want this to be a family saga, it needs the lineage, it needs the bloodline. It just, that's part of the myth, that's part of the thing. I mean, we have been trying to be original with our stories. We've been trying to invent the hot water again. There is something fascinating about classical tropes and classical cliches that it's why not use it for the new generation, because new generation, they don't know those tropes, they don't know those cliches. For them everything is new. So take some kind of a myth, take some kind of a story that has been told billions of times and tell it again in a new, fresh way. Don't retell New Hope again. Choose something else, pick something else, like George Lucas did. He got his inspiration from other stories and made Star Wars. Do the same. Copy something, just something different, you know? So you have the New Republic maybe falling apart. The New Republic is falling apart and a new enemy is coming. And I would have some Skywalker return. How can this happen? Because Rey is not a Skywalker. It just doesn't work like that, okay? She can be there. She's great, but she's not a Skywalker. So you bring Luke's grandson, who was hidden all this time. And then in this case, you can have Mara Jade, and you can have like Luke and Mara met, had some affair, then she left with a kid. Cool, another spin-off opportunity. I would go for it. And then that explains why Luke is so broken, like his wife left him. And then maybe make another prophecy. Maybe the prophecy is like, oh, the Skywalkers, they shouldn't have any children because the children of Skywalker will undo everything that the Chosen One has done. Like the Skywalker must be destroyed or something like that. That prophecy maybe exists, and that's why Luke was worried about Kylo Ren, because he knows the prophecy that Skywalkers should not continue, yet he maybe hides it from Leia or something like that. Just make some prophecy. It ties in. Yeah, it's cheesy, but it ties in and it's mythological, whatever. Again, ideas are cheap. Important is your execution. You don't have to be Rian Johnson, like thinking you're so smart because you flip everything over. Okay, you flip everything over. What new can you add? Because we saw that changing everything without a new idea means nothing, you know? So you get this prophecy and Mara escaped with the children to save them from Luke because he was going crazy. And so their children had the children, blah, blah. Now you have two Skywalkers. Have them two. Two brothers. Let's have them brothers, because we already have the girl and the boy. We already have like Luke and Leia. Have them two brothers. One is older. And have one brother fight on the good side and one brother fights on the bad side. And by the end, they might flip sides or something. So you have Rey, you have the New Republic falling apart, you have new enemy coming, and you have the Skywalker resurface. This boy comes to Rey and say, I was looking for you because I'm also a Skywalker and my family was killed, and can you help me? Can you help? So this is kind of like the classical thing, like somebody's coming and asking for help. Doesn't matter the details. The point is you should have the Skywalker, Luke's grandson, reappear, and you should have some kind of mythological fight again. Spend 5 years, spend 3 years, I don't know, spend some years refining this kind of story. Create a couple of cool characters that can be really memorable the way Luke and Han was. And then you have your new Star Wars. I was actually super fascinated with that idea about the two brothers fighting, which is super cliche, and I'm thinking to write it for myself. But it's not gonna be a Star Wars fan fiction because that's too many constraints. I think I will write it as a space opera, and one day I will share it with you. I realize I totally miss these mythological stories that have some kind of cliche at the core, but just explore it in a completely different way. So I have an idea about the two brothers fighting in a intergalactic war, and there are those Asian Jedi-like knights who are in a existential crisis about their meaning and place in the universe. And you have this old master, female master, and a few other things. Yeah, I know it's ridiculous, but yeah, that's what I think they should do. They should go ahead. They should make a new trilogy, but they should really think about it, because I don't know why they're so in a hurry, because you spend 5 years building something, okay, maybe 10 even. But if that thing is good, it's going to feed your family for 20, 30 years more, like what Lucas did, The problem is it's not so easy to fabricate a good idea. It's not so easy to be talented because it's not one man's job. It's the entire team. You have to have good actors, good cinematographer, everything. Sometimes just the puzzle pieces come together and something magical happens once in a while. I don't know what's the new magical thing is going to be. Maybe it's not going to be Star Wars. It's not going to be Harry Potter. It's not going to be any of the things we know. Maybe something new is coming from somebody who grew up with Star Wars and created something new. We'll see. Let me know what is your idea of the future of Star Wars. Or do you think that maybe they should just stop and just cancel everything and say, that's it? I don't think they're going to do it, but yeah, who knows. Bye-bye. See you next time.